The Honourable Member Claire Curran.
Mr Chair, I'm pleased to take a call in part 3 of the bill, which is regarding the amendments to other acts, regulations and transitional provisions and other miscellaneous matters. Going back to the core, as my colleague Stuart Nash has just talked about, as the core reason for this bill, which is about creating an independent oversight system for issuer audits in order to promote the quality and expertise of that auditor profession. And while some of us in this House might think that being an auditor is not necessarily something that we would necessarily aspire to, and that is not in any way meant to put down auditors, they are and remain a critical profession.
And respected.
And a very respected profession, and hands up anybody in this House who's an auditor. There must be a few across...
Order. I'm sorry to interrupt the Honourable Member. The debate is with the Speaker standing, not with members across the House. I call the Honourable Member Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I was talking about the importance of the auditor profession, and I do want to underline that, because if we didn't have good auditors, then we wouldn't have a financial system that we could feel confident about. So taking the merriment out of it, it is time to be serious, and it is actually a critical profession. So, and this piece of legislation, as has been mentioned on many occasions, is part of a bunch of legislation which is meant to underpin the new Financial Markets Authority, which is yet, and I would like to point out, which is as yet untested. And I'm very pleased to hear tonight that the financial literacy side of the equation is apparently being addressed by this government. I would like to see that extend to the impact that the nefarious loan sharks are having out there in the community on many unsuspecting people, and I'd like to see the government address that part of the equation, because it all turns on the ability of people, the information that people have, how informed they feel, how skilled they feel in actually being able to invest and being able to trust the system. And having respectable and trusted auditors is all an important part of that equation. But this is a complex piece of legislation. It is 100 pages, as my colleague has pointed out. It's very detailed, and without it, I'm sure that the Financial Markets Authority would be poorer. I also would like to point out that this new regime will only apply to major audits of issuers and large companies. It won't impact on the small and medium-sized companies and non-profit entities, because issue auditors are targeted because the investors in those entities are most at risk of losing large amounts of money, which is the point that I made earlier around the celebrity endorsements of financial products, which is where the unsuspecting investor can get ripped off and rorted. So that's another issue that I want to again put on the agenda for this government to deal with, as to how to deal with the truth in advertising issue, because that is critical. It's not only critical in the financial investment side of the equation, it's also absolutely critical in other industries such as the telecommunications industry, which I'd just like to put on the record as well. So those issuer audits are targeted because investors in those entities are most at risk of losing large amounts of money. in the event of auditor failure. And in 2009 report, the Registrar of Companies criticised a number of parties for their role in the finance company meltdown, including auditors. And the Registrar said that the big accounting firms were not particularly interested.
I call the honourable member Brendan Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm very pleased to take